Hi, I'm Richard Friedman, and welcome to my video cartoon for August 14th, 2025. Here we have the title of this cartoon is Richard's Texas Governor Greg Abbott's dream of Democrat roundup with Trump on horseback. So here you have Governor Greg Abbott here, getting ready, leaving the Capitol, and with President Trump on horseback, and he's got his lasso there, and President Trump, he's got on his USA cap, thumbs up, and they're going to have this conversation that I'll tell you about after I get through the introduction. So this is the first part. This is the first part of the cartoon here. Okay, there you have it. That's the state capitol, Texas state capitol. President Trump with his red USA cap there, thumbs up, and Greg Abbott hoping to catch a Democrat and lasso him in. And then here is the second part of this cartoon is this here. This is the proposed redistricting of the Texas voting apparatus. So here, what I've done here is I've drawn this. Now this here, all this represents infringements into Democratic strongholds. You see, so this redrawn map is basically what they're proposing here is to dilute the Democratic vote in these big cities. Well, mainly you have the realities are you have a lot of black people, Hispanic people. You have a lot of those blocks in the big cities, in the urban areas. Okay, and to merge them with the rural areas to dilute the minority vote, those minority votes there. That's what it appears to be. And so basically, this is here, the Dallas area. They're going after Houston, Austin, and South Texas. You see? And this is how it infringes here, right here, on Dallas. Here, Austin is the capital of Texas, Austin, and of course they're going to do some redistricting in Austin. That's the capital of the state, and there's South Texas, Houston again, and Dallas, and this is the proposed restructured map, and this is all. Now a lot of people say this and that. President Trump, the relationship between President Trump and Governor Greg Abbott. Some people say, well, President Trump ordered Abbott to do this. Some people say it was President Trump's aide to do this. I just give you the facts here, and you decide how you want to think about that. This is all the stuff that I read a lot, and I try to filter out and give you the bottom line as close to I can get to the truth, and then a few humorous representations, and then you decide. Now, what I'm saying here is this: that the central theme of this is how the term gerrymandering got started. Now, here's what this is: a salamander here. Okay, the mander, that's with gerrymander, and part of that gerrymander is from the salamander, and it goes back to a governor, and I'm going to read it to you right now. The term gerrymandering originated from Eldridge Gerry, Vice President of the United States under President James Madison from 1813 until his death in 1814. He is the father and namesake of the political practice of gerrymandering. That because, as governor of Massachusetts in 1812, he signed a bill that unfairly manipulated electoral districts in the Boston area. So what happened was, after he did all that gerrymandering, I guess it was James Madison. He said, "This guy knows what he's doing." He picked him as his vice president running mate after he did he's like the founding father of gerrymandering, and he got promoted from basically governor of Massachusetts to the vice president under President James Madison from 1813 until his death in 1814. Okay, and what happened here is that because as governor of Massachusetts in 1812, he signed a bill that unfairly manipulated electoral districts in the Boston area. And that was compared to the shape of a salamander, that area that he manipulated and doing what's done here, gerrymandering, is what's done in Texas now. That geographic area looked like a salamander. Okay, that is an amphibian. Amphibian means on land and sea it can survive, with tails and a slender bodies. So this is again here the redistricting of Texas 2025 map from the Texas Tribune. I got this from the Texas Tribune. I have to give them fair representation there, and I just drew it right off of that there. And now here is the salamander. You see? Okay, so what you have here, if you look at the salamander, the way it's shaped here, with the head and all the arms coming out, and then you look over here, you look right over here, and you see a little almost like a baby salamander right here. You see that? You see? Going into Dallas here. Okay, there it is. There's your baby salamander of 2025. Okay, and this is a salamander here, and you can see from here to here. You can see why and how that came about. There it was. The redistricting map being proposed. And here you have the salamander. So they took the word. So the gerrymandering came from Elridge Gerry. They took Gerry's last name and they combined it with the salamander, and you came up with Gerry. Instead of salamandering, you come up with gerrymandering, and then that's how it came about, gerrymandering. And there you have it here. Okay, there's the salamander that I drew, and there the example here, right there. And I have to tell you, folks, I didn't do that intentionally. I drew that separately, and then drew this, and then went back, and then I just kind of zoomed in on that. So I didn't set out to do that. That's the way it came up. Okay, now, I want to read this to you. The Redistricting Texas 2020 map from the Texas Tribune. The gerrymandering map to be considered by the entire state house that adds more GOP seats by adding 5 new Republican district seats, possibly, next year ahead of the 2026 midterm elections. So it could be argued here that President Trump is laying the groundwork for keeping the House of Representatives with these 5 seats, to keep the U.S. House of Representatives, and he don't want to lose that, and all the emergencies that he's calling, special emergency this, all that. When you have a Democratic House, those emergencies aren't going to fly. So that's the whole thing behind that. A lot of people feel that way. You decide. Like I say, a lot of people feel that way. That is backed by President Donald Trump, and this is what President Trump said. This is probably why they feel that way. Who said he is entitled to 5 more seats. So President Trump said he's entitled to 5 more seats because he's had more victory. He's had the greatest victory in Florida, greatest election victory in Florida of all time. And based upon that, he's entitled. And he also said that there are a lot of Democrat states who do that as well, and in California and Illinois and all that business. But this is a very extreme. People are arguing that this is the most extreme case they've ever seen. Some people have argued that. Again, you decide. So that I give you the facts, and you decide. There is the salamander, and here is the 2025 salamander on the map. Okay, now getting back to the introduction here to the cartoon. Now here we got. This is the Texas state capitol. There it is here. There you have the American flag flying with the Texas flag here, flag of Texas, the Lone Star State here. Okay. And here you got the Capitol, and here you've got President Trump again, and here is Greg Abbott ready to lasso in some Democrats who I'm going to read the introduction to you now. Okay? Richard's Texas Governor Greg Abbott's dream of a Democrat roundup with Trump on horseback, which is the title of this video. Okay? Leaving the Texas Capitol to round up Texas House Democrats who fled their chamber to block the quorum needed. See, they needed a quorum. Even though they have the majority, they couldn't get it through without a quorum. And the Democrats taking off like that blocked the quorum in the House. So they needed the House, the Texas House. So they needed that Texas House. They didn't have a quorum because the Democrats took off, and they took off. I think they interrupted that session in the chamber and just went out the door, and that's what this cartoon is referring to. When they went out the door and they were gone for maybe an hour or so, they got in their horses and they wanted to track them down, to track those Democrats down before they left the state. Now they've left the state, so that's the story there. Okay, so I want to clarify that. Given Abbott said, this is Governor Abbott, word for word, quote, "There will be no reprieve for the derelict Democrats who fled the state and abandoned their duty to the people who elected them." And President Trump said Republicans are entitled to 5 additional seats because I won Texas. I got the highest vote in the history of Texas. Okay? Now that says that this is this goes back to it being political. You see, the redistricting, that's hard for me. I don't know why it's a tongue twister for me, is supposed to be based on the census, not on political victories. But President Trump feels that in his case, it justifies it, the 5 seats. Okay? So that, again, you decide. Given, if passed by the legislature, this new Texas congressional map would increase the Republicans' chances of keeping control of the U.S. House of Representatives in the 2026 midterms, which is coming up before you know it. You know, time just zooms on by. So, again, if the Democrats take the U.S. House of Representatives in the midterms, that means we're not gonna have too many special emergencies from President Trump. And there goes that. So President Trump wants to keep his special emergencies going. So there you have it, basically. Okay. Again, you decide on that one. But it could be argued that. Okay. And today, California Governor Gavin Newsom announced he would fight, quote, fire with fire, and launch California's redistricting approach, saying California, here it is, California redistricting approach, saying California won't stand by and watch Trump burn it all down. That's a quote. "We are calling a special election to redraw our congressional maps and defend fair representation." So what Governor Newsom is saying here, we're not going to shove it down the throats of the people, that they pass it in the House, and then it goes through. Before they do that, they're going to take it to the people. At least they're going to do that. They're going to gerrymandering. They're going to do gerrymandering and get the people of Texas to see if they support this action of gerrymandering against what the Republicans are doing. So that's their approach, and there's no other approach there can be. Now, Abbott says they should have stayed and fought, but how can you fight when you have you have the influence of President Trump over these Republicans, and they have the majority? There's no doubt that President Trump has a tremendous influence over Republicans, how they vote in this situation. We heard him saying he has a right. Once he's injected himself into this matter, saying he has the right to those 5 seats. The Republicans have the right to those 5 seats. Then he's injecting politics here based upon his victories. So there you have it. So again, you decide. Is it the census or is it politics? And Governor Newsom is saying here, well, we have no choice. Either we have to. It's like we have to either put the fire out or burn, and whatever it takes to put the fire out, we have to do it. And that's what he's saying basically. And we're taking it before we do it. We're going to take it to the people and see if the people of Texas support it in a vote. I don't know how he's going to set the map up, and they're going to vote whether they want to change the map or not, say yes or no or whatever. So that's it's going to be a vote. So see what happens there. Okay. So here we got now. Here is President Trump here, and Governor Abbott here, Governor Greg Abbott, and President Donald Trump on horseback, which is what this cartoon is really the central theme here is. And President Trump thumbs up, and he's lassoing. And this is after the Democrats left their House chamber. A few minutes later, they were gone, and they're going out the door right after them before they left the state. Okay, before the Democrats took off for the state, California, Illinois, wherever they went to. Okay, so there you have it. I'm going to read that to you now here. So here goes President Trump, here goes Governor Greg Abbott. Here he is. There he's got his star there, his gold star, and there he's like a real cowboy there going on his horse. Okay, and he's saying, Mr. President, we are going to round up them deserting Democrats like cattle. Okay, and here's President Trump responding to that here. See, here he is. And he's responding to that, saying, Governor Abbott, I think like cattle is too good for those renegade Dems who are trying to steal my 5 seats. We have to fight and let our great Attorney General Pam Bondi do her job as she always does in bringing those outlaw fleeing Democrats to justice. Okay? And that's it here. So there you have it there. There's President Trump gets the last word here, and there it was. That was President Trump here getting the last word, and that was it. Folks, thank you for watching my video. God bless you. Hang in there, and I'll see you next time. Bye.